Dog the Bounty Hunter recently had some new things to say regarding the Brian Laundrie Gabby Petito case in respect of the notebook and the investigation itself with the funding. And you guys know I'm Team Dog, but it's even got me head scratching thinking, yo, what? Hey up everyone, it's me, Stef, the Alternerd, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to another dose of the Daily Nerd, where I break down the news and true crime stories of the day that's pretty much caught me eye. And oh my goodness, you guys know I am firmly in the Team Dog camp, right? However, he's had some choice words to say in regards to the Brian Laundrie notebook and the investigation as a whole that, like I said before, even had my head scratching thinking, yo, what? Well, before I jump into it, just a few little bits of housekeeping. Firstly, YouTube human reviewer, I see you lurking. I'm not going to say any trigger words or anything that's going to offend your ear holes. And to everyone else awesome enough to have clicked on this video, hi, welcome. How are you doing? If you love news and true crime on the daily, served with a little bit of sass and gobbiness, which is basically this, right? Do make sure you click on that subscribe button, like, share, comment, all of that good stuff. And let's jump into this, shall we? So let's start by reminding ourselves as to what was said in Brian Laundrie's notebook, what was written. So it says, Gabby, I wish I was right at your side. I wish I could be talking to you right now. I'd be going through every memory we've made, getting even more excited for the future. I can't live without you. I've lost every day we could have spent together, every holiday. I'll never get to play with something again. Never go hiking with TJ. I loved you more than anything. I can't bear to look at our photos, to recall great times, because it's why I cannot go on. When I close my eyes, I'll think of laying on the roof of the van, falling asleep to the sight of a meteor shower at the Crystal Gazer. I will always love you. He continues, if you were reading Gab's journal, looking at the photos from our life together, flipping through her old cards, you wouldn't want to live a day without her. Knowing that every day you'll wake up without her, you wouldn't want to wake up. I'm sorry to everyone this will affect. Gabby was the love of my life, but I know adored by many. I'm so very sorry to her family because I love them. I'd consider her younger siblings my best of friends. I'm sorry to my family. This is a shock to them as well as a terrible grief. They loved as much, if not more than me, a new daughter to my mother, an aunt to my nephews. Please do not make this harder for them. This occurred as an unexpected tragedy. Rushing back to our car, trying to cross the streams of Spread Creek before it got too dark to see, too cold. Now, before we continue any further, this is generally now the bit that Dog the Bounty Hunter is commenting on, but to read it through, Brian, allegedly, because it is disputed, wrote, I hear a splash and a scream I could barely see. I couldn't find her for a moment, shouted a name. I found her breathing heavily, gasping my name. She was freezing cold. We had just come from the blazing hot national parks in Utah. The temperature had dropped to freezing and she was soaking wet. I carried her as far as I could down the stream towards the car, stumbling, exhausted in shock, when my knees buckled and knew I couldn't safely carry her. I started a fire and spooned her as close to the heat. She was so thin, had already been freezing too long. I couldn't at the time realize that I should have started a fire at first, but I wanted her out of the cold back to the car. From where I started the fire, I had no idea how far the car might be. Only knew it was across the creek. When I pulled Gabby out of the water, she couldn't tell me what hurt. She had a small bump on her forehead that eventually got larger. Her feet hurt, her wrist hurt, but she was freezing, shaking violently. While carrying her, she continually made sounds of pain. Lying next to her, she said little lapsing between violent shakes, gasping in pain, begging for an end to her pain. She would fall asleep and I would shake her awake, fearing she couldn't close her eyes if she had a concussion. She would wake in pain, start the whole painful cycle again. While furious that I was the one waking her, she wouldn't let me try to cross the creek, thought like me that this fire would go out in her sleep and she'd freeze. I don't know the extent of Gabby's injuries, only that she was in extreme pain. I unalived her. I thought it was merciful. That is what she wanted. But I see now all the mistakes I made. I panicked. I was in shock. but from the moment I decided, took away her pain, I knew I couldn't go on without her. I rushed home to spend any time I had left with my family. I wanted to drive north and let James or TJ unalive me, but I wouldn't want them to spend time in jail over my mistake. Even though I'm sure they would have liked to, I'm unaliving myself, not because of a fear of punishment, but rather because I can't stand to live another day without her. I've lost our whole future together, every moment we could have cherished. I'm sorry for everyone's loss. Please do not make life harder for my family. They lost a son and a daughter, the most wonderful girl in the world. Gabby, I'm sorry. I've unalived myself by this creek in the hopes that animals may do things that it may make some of our family happy. Please pick up all of my things. Gabby hated people who litter. Okay, so that is the notebook as a whole that's been released, and you can pick it apart, pick holes in it, think, hang on a minute, that don't make sense, that don't make sense. I've done that myself, okay? There's a lot in this notebook that's been released that I'm thinking, you know what? But this video, we're not here for that. We're here for, well, what did Dog the Bounty Hunter say about it? Because he had some choice words, and I'm thinking, really? But I'm thinking this is a little bit insane. But let's hear him out. So, this is what he recently said in an interview with Court TV.
Well, the first time I read that, and I had to read it twice, and I've heard final arguments from lawyers representing killers in court, and it's almost exactly that. He had to do it. He didn't mean to. He didn't know what to do. So I assume that was, I'm not going to say what lawyer because I don't want to get sued, but I think a lawyer helped him write that. If he is.
Guys, Dog the Bounty Hunter thinks that perhaps a lawyer helped him write that notebook. Which would mean, if that was the case, allegedly, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever here, that whichever lawyer this is, they knew. In that scenario, they knew. They knew Brian did it, and they knew his intentions afterwards in regards to unaliving himself. Which would then mean that when they went to that part of the woods situation, and the family find him in 2 seconds flat, well, in that scenario, they knew. So they would have known exactly where to have found him all along, right? Opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. But my head's scratching one because, really? A lawyer helped Brian Laundrie to write that? I'm sorry, but out of everything where we've picked apart this notebook, if a lawyer did help Brian Laundrie to write that, then that lawyer needs to be fired. Because that notebook, that message, that written piece, poorly freaking constructed. I'll tell you that right now. But anyway, Dog continues. Let's hear the rest of the bit in particular of this interview that I've picked out that he has to say that's quite interesting.
Is dead. So, there's a lot of hinky stuff. The government spent almost $3 million down there looking for him in the crocodile pits. So that's about all they got for each case right now. Remember, defund the police? So that case had to go away in a financial federal way.
So, Dog the Bounty Hunter, he's going one step further here. And what he's explaining is that with quote unquote the lack of funds that the police have got at the moment to dedicate each case, there's a point upon which where the funds are going to run out. They're going to run out. It's just as simple as that. And so that already, according to Dog the Bounty Hunter, spent $3 million plus on this case, trying to find Brian, of trying to find Gabby and figure out what was going on, all this malarkey, right? And it got to the point, according to Dog, where the authorities may have turned around and be like, yeah, we need to shut this case. We need to tie it in a bow because financially we cannot keep on going spending all this money on this case. We're running out. So, according to Dog, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, there may have been a financial motive on the authorities' sense to get this case wrapped up as quickly as possible. And regardless of what the facts are or what the facts are not, let's say, and rushing it through to tie it all off. Yeah. See where he's coming from. Now, do I believe that there are financial constraints at the end because they'd spent so much money on the case? Yeah. Do I believe, though, that that would have been a motive for them to tie it all up in a bow and be like, nah, damn the rest of it. We're just going to end it here. We've tied it in a bow. This is all convenient. We've got the facts. We've got everything without doing a full, proper, like, end-to-end investigation and just tying it up in a bow to try and save money on the case. I have to admit, I don't know. My naivety, because I can be naive, would like to think that that wouldn't be the case. That with such a high-profile case, they would have, like, dotted the I's, crossed the T's, and went through absolutely everything before, you know, shutting it all down. I would hope that would have been the case. However, Dog the Bounty Hunter does make a compelling argument for why that might not have been the case. In regards to the other part right at the beginning where he says that, you know, it sounds like he was helped by a lawyer to write that notebook. Like I said before, do I think it's likely that was the case? No. Because again, the way that it was constructed, we've been picking this apart all day long. And so if it was a lawyer that helped him write this, then it wouldn't have been so easily picked apart, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. And then on the other hand, if it was a lawyer that did help him, then that lawyer needs to be fired because quite clearly they cannot construct a sentence to save their freaking lives. Oh my shiz in hell. But guys, enough with my gob. It's time for your gobs. What do you think? Sound off in the comments down below. And if you loved this video and love news and true crime on the daily, served with a little bit of sass and gobbiness, which is basically this, right? Do make sure you click on that subscribe button, like, share, comment, all of that good stuff. And until the next time, you guys, laters!